It's time for some honesty, some truth, some. After all, that's the purpose of this YouTube channel, is to speak what happens to me, who I am, what I do, why I do it, what I don't do, what I stop doing, and this past few days have been so. I finished, by the way, quick summary. Finished college, and I still did some private classes, but I didn't do much. You know, so I worked a bit, but not as much as I could have. I stopped doing outreach, and a few days ago I had a realization of why that was happening, and it's been something that's been happening um, a lot of times, which is I worked very hard for the season, and then I go from 100% to 0% work, and it's happened several times. It's not the first time that's happened, and I I kind of had a realization of why this is happening, and I always blamed conditions. I always blamed situations, and I read a poem from Greek. My mom gave me for my birthday a few months ago a book from a Greek poet, and I read one of its poems, which was called "The City," and it was the general idea of the poem was it doesn't matter where you go, it doesn't matter um, the places that you go to, and the things that you run away from, because the problems are within you. All the issues, all those things are within you. So it's not about the city that you find yourself in. It's about the the way you think, the way you see things, the way you act. So you can go, once you've ruined one place, you've ruined the whole world, because you are ruined. So you are the one who has to change. And I realized, in order for something to change, something has to change. Nothing changes if nothing changes. And the main idea that kind of switched was, I always thought that responsibility was something that you could turn on and off. And I realized that it's not like that at all. Responsibility, I believe, is the key to everything. Being responsible is the key to everything. And I've realized that there's no on and off. You're either responsible or you're not. So I guess that way of thinking, of me thinking that I could turn it on and off, was the reason as to why I was working very hard for a season and then suddenly stopping, and then after some time going on 100% again. And I have to see that the actual reason behind that behavior is that I thought that responsibility was not a permanent thing. I could be responsible for some time, or responsible in certain aspects of my life and irresponsible in other aspects of my life. But it's not like that at all, because things all go together. It's about the way of thinking. So it was a very big realization, something that made me see that if there's something that has to change. Something has to change. You have to do some things differently if you really want to make that change that you wish you would have done. So that was kind of the main thing. I know it's kind of more serious aspect, more serious talk, but it's like that at all. It's just that, responsibility has to be there all the time, and I believe that's um, that is also the characteristic, the aspect that differentiates champions from normal people, and it's that they just never turn it off. Certain people have the ability to turn it off, and sort of work hard, then stop, work hard, then stop, work hard, then stop. But I think Alex Hormozy said this, and I believe that is a genius sentence. I mean, it's a genius concept, which was, champions are not broken. They just lack something that everyone else has, which is an off button. They just don't stop. They don't ever stop, and that's the main idea. That's the main concept. I'm not gonna keep blabbing about. there's some noise outside. I'm sorry. I said what I wanted to say, and that's it. I'm gonna go to sleep. Tomorrow will be another day, and we'll talk about other stuff, other things that are important. Right now, I'm gonna go to sleep. And tomorrow I will explain kind of the things that I've thought about and what I think I'm gonna do this summer, what I want to do this summer, how I'm organizing everything. Okay, see you tomorrow. Quick one today. I've been working today. I had a few private classes. I've been working on I guess you could call it a business plan for this summer, and it's really easy to do certain things when you have an important motivator behind everything. You know, it's just really easy when you have a reason to actually do things, and the actual reason I'm saying this is because my reason for all of this is that I want to prove my parents. I want to prove to my parents that I know what I want to do, that I know what I want to do this summer. And I was like, when I was creating it, and I was like, I think this amount of information is enough. And then I was like, no, let's just add more information. Let's just do more information, and let's just create something so good that there's no doubt that I know what I'm doing and I know what I'm talking about, and that there's no room to fail, and I wanted to talk about everything, and I wanted to go in depth about everything, and that was pretty much it. It's just I want to prove them. I want to prove to them that I can do what I say I'm going to do for once, and that's just been so different. For the past few days, it's been so different because of the responsibility thing, and everything has just become sort of easier because I no longer get that distracted. I no longer, it's just super easy, because I feel like that responsibility has embodied me, and I've become so much better. Simply put, I've become so much better, and I've been working much more. But that's just it. That the main thing today was to mention that if you have a certain motivator, and sometimes and for me, it's not only the fact that I want to prove my parents right. It's also that deep down I want to prove them wrong about the fact that they think that I'm not ready to do this, and I want to prove them wrong about that, and so it's just a very big motivator when so they don't believe that you can do this, so actually you're doing this for yourself. You're not doing this for them because they don't believe in it. They don't believe that you can do it, so you're just doing this for yourself, and that kind of changes the dynamics of everything, because now you're willing to do whatever it takes. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I wanted to talk about a few more things, but I kind of want to keep this organized and structured, because if not, I end up saying lots of things and not saying much at the same time, and I don't like that. Anyways, it's almost 11 p.m. I'm gonna go to sleep. Tomorrow will be another day and yeah, keep working, keep preparing. Hopefully, I think tomorrow I can finish the whole business plan and send it to my parents so that they can look it over and see what they think. But for the very first time in my life, I think my parents say that I'm not ready, but deep down I believe that I am. And it was like, you don't think I'm ready? Okay, fine. I'm going to prove to you that I am. There's a fly around here. Shit. I'm going to prove to you that I am right and then you are wrong. And that's basically it. Anyways, gonna organize tomorrow and go to sleep. Okay, so I'll see you tomorrow. So, shirtless video today, because it is very hot in here. I think it's almost 30 degrees probably, and it's 11 p.m. So it's very, very hot. Anyways, I'm here to talk about one main thing right now. One main thing, which is fear. You know, I am, and I guess someone who's watching this, in the future right now, I don't know, someone who's trying to change their lives. They know they have several areas that they need to, change or move forward in. And I'm here to say that in my experience, and I've tried many times over the past 2 years, in my experience, you can't just, how do you say, isolate your growth, I guess. If you want to change your life, you have to change. Something actually has to change. So for me, not giving my 100% in everything that I do kind of sneaks into the rest of the areas of my life. So even if I'm doing really well in the gym, if somewhere else I'm doing worse, I'm not giving it my 100%, or I'm not trying, or not going as hard as I can, then it sneaks up on the gym, and it infects my mind, and it pollutes the way I think and my mentality. So in my experience, you need to be awesome at everything, and that requires a lot of time, and that requires a lot of energy, and it also requires a lot of sacrifice. But you have to do it. If you want to change, I don't think you have an option. And I'm talking from my experience, of course. Maybe you're different. Maybe you don't need to change in everything, and you can just focus on one thing to change your life, and the rest of the areas of your life won't impact. But for me, in my experience, I've realized that I can't just say I'm going to be rich and focus on that, because I have goals elsewhere. So if I let them, I can move slowly towards the other goal, and that counts. And I've been able to recognize that and use that to my advantage, and that is to move slowly towards one goal, and that will require less time and will allow me to dedicate more time to the thing that truly matters to me in the moment. But I can't let the other thing behind, because even in imbalance, even when living an unbalanced life, you need some sort of some sort of it's going to sound weird, but some sort of balance. Some sort of saying, hey, I'm going to dedicate 12 hours a day to this, okay? But this other area of my life, I can't just say disappear completely. And that might be working out, for example. You might not want to stop working out, even if you work very hard, because maybe you don't want to maintain, maybe you're not going to go as hard as you usually go, because you want to have energy and strength to work, to work, but you're going to have to focus on whatever you have to focus, and that takes sacrifice, that takes time, and you can't have everything. As always, you can't have everything. At least you can't have everything right now. In the future, you might be able to, but right now you can't. Okay, you can't. And you have to choose. You have to choose priorities. I'm saying all of this because for me, I have to move forward in all of those areas. I have to move forward in the gym. I have to move forward in the business. But I also have to move forward in the social life. And that's why, for example, today I asked for a phone number, a girl's phone number. I got rejected, but I was so happy. I was so geeked out because I got rejected. Not because I got rejected, obviously, but because of the fact that I had the courage to walk up to her and say, I think this, and hey, could I get your phone number? Talking to her, going up to her and not knowing her. And that's it. I didn't die. I'm still alive. I'm still here. I'm still happy. Blah, blah, blah. So you have to move forward. I have to move forward in more areas of my life. I can't just leave them behind, because I've left them behind before, thinking they weren't important. But they will sneak up on me. They will sneak up on me because it's fear, mainly. And there's something that I saw a few months ago in a Hugh Jackman video, in which he talks about the fact that he just, when he faces something that he's afraid of, he just has to go in, because if not, he's afraid that the fear will creep into other areas of his life. And I'm right now I'm at the same point of, I can't I, today I remember I was shaking. And I was working, and at a certain point I was shaking because I knew I had to ask for that girl's number, and I knew that I didn't know her. First time I ever saw her, but when I saw her, I said, I'm gonna say that's my goal today. And when I saw her, so that already was in my head. It went into my head, and I was like, I have to do that. I have to go in. I have to do it, because if I don't, what other areas of my life will I give up in? I can't afford that. I can't afford to give up in one thing. So that is basically it. Basically everything that I wanted to talk about. Yeah. Gonna keep doing this. Set a goal of talking to one girl a week for now. Get the fear out, get the all of that. But I know if the impulse hits to talk to someone, I will do it, because I have, my mind works that way. But anyways, so I'm gonna go meditate. I'm gonna go read for a bit, and I'm gonna go to sleep, get some beauty rest. Tomorrow will be another day, and yeah, tomorrow I'll see you tomorrow. Well, I'll see you in the next video, because this is the part. I wanted to finish saying something. Yeah, start living your life. Stop letting life live you. Bam. See you tomorrow.